It was bedtime. Cookie was reading a book laying on the bed. He was tired, but also guilty because his wannabe wife was sleeping on the couch. He got up from the bed and went to the living room to see whether she was sleeping comfortably or not. Actually, in his thoughts, he decided to bring her in the bed if she would respond to him sensing his appearance. Wen was sleeping, being curled into a ball. Cookie stood on her bedside. His fingers were hesitating to kiss her badly, and he actually didn't want to control himself. His fingers were about to touch her pink cheeks when, Oppa, don't leave me. She was talking in her sleep. He noticed sweats accumulated on her forehead. There was no doubt that she was having nightmare. Cookie didn't know how to console her, why she was panicking, what kind of nightmares she had. He just touched her gently and the next moment when grabbed his wrist. She murmured something but he didn't understand. Her grip on his wrist was tighter than his expectations. It was like she didn't want to let the person go in her nightmare. Cookie yawned, and at this point he was unable to free himself from her fist. So he just laid beside her on the couch. It was a win-win situation for both of them. Her nightmare subconsciously played the role of Cupid. Jungkook tried to adjust himself beside Wen on the couch. Wen moved a little and his wrist was freed from her grip, but her arms were wrapped around his waist. She found a comfortable place for herself in the crook of his shoulder and adjusted while sleeping. Jungkook gently patted on her shoulder. Her head was near his face. He could easily smell her scalp. He expected she might be smelling like a fresh flower or something like that, but surprisingly, she wasn't smelling like those. She was smelling like nothing. It wasn't good, not bad. It was neutral. It was early in the morning. The curtains were not down, so bright sunlight was coming through the glass windows. When opened her eyes and found herself in Cookie's embrace. She was startled, surprised, yet happy, seeing him beside her. After a few moments, she guessed that it might be her, talking in her dreams or having the nightmare. That's why he might be. And Cookie moved a little as the warmth of Wen was filled with air. He opened his eyes and saw Wen was awake. Wen, did you stay with me? 'Cause you heard me talking in sleep? Cookie, I was trying to crack an excuse to stay with you, and it wasn't actually that. I wanted to take you in the bedroom, but you had grabbed my wrist. You stopped me, and I couldn't refuse. When I'm sorry, but I also wanted to stay with you, but I didn't think that this version of mine would be exposed. Cooking. What's the time? When 5:30 in the morning. It's so beautiful and of course it feels so refreshed in the morning. Cooking. Do you have some time? When more than enough. Cooking. I think we should have a good conversation. When wait, if you want to break up with me, it's all okay. It's my fault, obviously. I was asleep, but still I want to make breakfast for you today. Cookie was silent. When my cooking skills are awful. I just want to ensure that you would never come back to me. I don't want you to regret for the last night, but for today's morning. Cookie, your overthinking skills are impressive, but let me inform you I'm willing to eat everything you want to cook for the rest of my life. When it means cookie, it means I want you to be in my embrace. May I? Van's face turned red immediately and a gentle stroke made her lay beside him. Cookie, you have promised to be honest and nobody forced you to promise that. Am I right? Van, yeah, Cookie. May I ask you something personal? Van, yeah, Cookie. Who's your boyfriend who lives in abroad? Van, It's a silly joke. I didn't want to be engaged with anybody because I was underprivileged, as I can't use the term orphan. I'm substituting that word here. I didn't want to be sympathized, so I waited for you, and I randomly said that my boyfriend lived in another nation, that is in my imagination. So I was politically correct and I didn't have to block anyone. I was surprised as the warden ma'am believed in that joke. Cookie, it was a casual question, but can I ask you something about yourself? And about? Cookie, about your childhood. When? Yeah, I do. I do remember that my parents were literally stickered on the road. Me and my older brother were enjoying ice cream while waiting for mom, and mom couldn't cross the road because she bought things to celebrate either my or my brother's birthday, so dad told us to stay there. We could see him crossing the road, and while returning to us, a car broke the signal, and I still remember there was a pregnant woman screaming in pain. Now I know it's called labor, but when? Please don't be sympathetic. Cookie was choked, his eyes were widened. Please let me to stay with you. When looked at his eyes and felt a little tighter in his embrace. Do you want to hear the full story? I have time for that. Cookie, if you are comfortable. When? That day it wasn't only us who lost their family, but the woman in the car too. Cookie, how did you know? When? She adopted me from the orphanage. Cookie, what's about your elder brother? When? He was adopted too, but I have no idea. Actually, I cried a lot after his adoption procedure was completed, and might be I miss him even today. Not today, yesterday night in my dreams. Cookie, can I have a hug? When? No? And Cookie didn't wait for her answer, or he didn't want to hear her answer. She was already in his embrace, and he gently made her head resting on his chest. Of course, Wen was trying to be calm, but she had never been treated like this. She tried to gulp down her emotions multiple times, but his gentle pats on her shoulder made it even more harder. We'll be late. Let me cook something. When managed to speak with her trembling voice. Cookie, I haven't asked you for breakup though. When? Then are you going to cook? Cookie, okay, I mean of course. When? So can I sleep for some time more? Cookie, yeah, but not on the couch. I will take you to the bed before going to the kitchen. When? Oh, so you have carried me to there that night. Cookie took her in his arms. If I say I was sleepwalking that night, will you believe me?